Hey there, I'm Sarita, and you're about to experience the modern approach to well being where you get to establish the best and most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I'm on a mission to help you declutter energy and reclaim your power so you can be a magnet to what you desire. If you're looking for the optimal blend of mindset and healing, you're in the right place. My goal in this podcast is to share tools, resources, and practices that will help you along your healing journey. I'm so excited to be here with you today, so welcome to Back to Here with Sarita. Let's get started. Hello, beautiful you. Welcome back to another episode of Back to Here with Sarita. I'm so grateful that you are here with me today and have chosen this podcast as a resource for all things that I absolutely love talking about: manifesting, wellness, healing, self-love. So I was supposed to have a guest today on the show to kick off this New Year's series that I called Abundance Chats. But then I started thinking that I really wanted to share with you my process around manifestation and, more specifically, my goal setting process, since it's still January and then it is in conjunction with my last podcast episode that aired a couple weeks ago. So, in this particular episode, not only will I be sharing with you the exact steps that I personally take to narrow down my to manifest list for the year, but I will also be sharing with you my 3 goals for 2024. Now, this will be my first time in my life that I will be sharing my goals out loud on a public platform. In the past, I've only shared with close friends. But as I sat down to think about this episode, I realized in order for you to understand the process, it kind of helps to have an example. And in this particular episode, the example will be me. So you're probably wondering why I call it To Manifest List. Now, this is not my original idea. I heard it from a manifestation teacher that I absolutely love, and then I started to incorporate it into my verbiage. Instead of calling it my goal list or New Year's resolutions list, I decided to call it my manifestation list or to manifest list, meaning the things that I desire to manifest into my reality, attract, aka call in to my life. And honestly, utilizing to manifest list takes off the pressure and feels a lot more light and spiritual to me than the more traditional goals or New Year's resolutions. Now, before I jump in, I wanted to share with you that this particular process that I'm going to be explaining to you has been the process that I have been doing for the last 4 years and has assisted me in manifesting some amazing, amazing things into my life, like 2 new homes in 6 months, free gym memberships, aligned dating, large sums of cash in my bank account, work, business, and collaboration opportunities, being able to live by the beach, 1,000 downloads on this podcast, and the list goes on. This process really works. And for anyone that wants a more clear and in-depth support on this process, I am here to assist. And my link to book a call with me will be in the show notes below. Okay, let's jump in. I think one of the hardest things that I have personally experienced when it comes to manifestation, or in this example, goal setting, is to actually be really, 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 really clear on what you want. I have been that person before who has seen other people's definition of success and have taken it on as my own without a second thought. And then I realize that I'm trying to manifest or call something into my life that really is not in alignment with my beliefs and my values, even though I've been subjected this image of what success or what it is that I desire through somebody else. Has this ever occurred to you before? Where you may be living out someone else's dream for your life, maybe like a parent or a significant other, and then it's not what you really want at all. The most curious thing is that even though we may think in the logical mind, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I want. In reality, our body, our heart really knows what we desire, but it is our job to tap into that. So before jumping in and doing anything with writing down, scripting, all the things, I always come back to the body first. I take one belly breath in and out, another deep belly breath in and out. And I just get really, really silent and start to listen and allow my body to communicate me to what it is I really desire versus my ego mind. After I get really, really settled and my mind kind of shuts down and I start listening, I do what I mentioned in my last podcast episode is I reflect on the highlights of the year before and the lessons that I learned from the last year. Once I get really clear on my list and what are the things that I'm deciding to release from this last year and not bring in to this year, I get really clear on that. So I know the things that happened last year will not reoccur this year. Remember that GPS analogy that I gave in the last episode that dropped? You need to know where you are in order to know where you are going. This next process is really, really fun and simple, and I really enjoy it. And I love calling it brain dump. Basically, brain dumping your desired manifestations by asking yourself a very, very simple question. If I was allowed the impossible, what would I really want? What do I really want if I'm allowed the impossible? After that, I usually make a list and it's really long, just scripting or writing in bullet points. The next step I do is writing out the perfect day in Sarita's life. And so it helps your body and brain wrap around the possibility of something like this actually happening. This whole entire process with the brain dumping and the scripting is called activation and release. So the next step takes a little bit more effort and oftentimes gets me personally a little stumped because it requires me and you to go a lot deeper into yourself, and maybe it might overwhelm you, but trust me, it is really, really important. The next step in the manifestation process or goal setting process is called deciding. From all areas of your life, ask yourself, what are the 3 areas you want to concentrate on this year to come? Meaning, here are some examples on some of the areas that you can concentrate on. You could concentrate or choose from things like career and business, romance, health and fitness, personal development, spiritual development, finances, etc. There are so many things that you can choose from. There will be some overlapping of each other's, but the purpose of this is to focus on the 3 areas that will impact your life the most if you were to concentrate them on this year only. For example, for me, I have chosen to focus on 3 areas: finance, business, fun/recreation for this year, because I know that it will help impact the other areas of my life. Once you decide on your top 3, you go back to the brain dumping again, listing out all the things that you want in those 3 areas, utilizing the list that you created in step 1. After you brain dump all your ideas for the first focus, then you choose from that list the one goal that will make the biggest impact in your life in that particular area, and you reflect on why that particular goal is so important. Ask yourself questions like, what will I experience by achieving this goal? How will it affect my life? What emotions are coming up around this goal? From my personal experience, what I feel that a lot of teachers who teach manifestation miss out on is that particular thing, which is, what is your relationship to that thing that you actually desire to manifest? Once you have some clarity on that, it helps you understand why you want it and what purpose it will play in your life. Okay, so again, that second process is called the decide step. You do this with the other two remaining areas that you desire to concentrate on this year. When I went through this process, I was able to narrow down in the first area of my life that I desire to focus on, and that is to make 200K revenue this year while concentrating on finances. In the areas of business, my goal is to have 10,000 downloads on this podcast by the end of this year. And finally, for my last particular goal, fun and recreation, is to find a soulmate partner in the most organic way possible. So, the next step in this manifesting process or goal setting process is embody. Now, I could do a whole podcast episode on embodiment. And to be honest with you, there is so much to cover, and I want to talk about it right now. But quite simply, in this process, and this goal setting process, and this manifestation process, it's about getting really clear on the version of you that is already living that reality. So, for example, for me, my first goal, the goal that I desire of 200K revenue, I wrote down the following. I wrote down the habits, the feelings, the behaviors of that person, of that version of Sarita that already has achieved this goal. Who is she? How does she live her life? What are her beliefs? You ask yourself these questions for the three main focuses that you have drawn from those three main areas that you desire, so you can get super duper clear on the embodiment piece, the version of you that already has this. If you desire a little bit more clarity on what embodiment is, I do suggest that you go back and listen to episode 17, where my guest speaker, Cynthia, speaks a lot more heavily on how to incorporate embodiment into your life. All right, just to recap, we have gone through the 3 steps in the manifestation process, goal setting process. The first one being activate and release, the second one, deciding, and the third one, embody. So let's move on to the last 2 steps of the manifestation process: alignment and trust. Align and trust. Alignment is imperative when it comes to the manifestation process. And in this case, the goal setting process. Now that you are clear on the version of yourself that believes that this goal is achievable, the version of you, how she acts, all the things, it's now time to start taking aligned action steps. There's this heavy misconception that in the law of attraction and manifesting world, that you simply put your desire out to the universe and you don't have to do anything. Like, ya es todo. Like, you don't have to do any action after that. But in reality, because everything is energy and the universe only responds to energy. So if you're not in the energy of the thing that you desire, quite possibly that thing that you desire or want to manifest into your life may just pass you by. So you do this, you get into aligned action. And aligned action basically means you're taking action that is in congruency to the version of you that already exists. Quite simply, if you want to get a lot more scientific about this, this whole process is actually called quantum jumping, because you are quite literally embracing and becoming something or someone that exists in the future or on another timeline. Again, I can definitely do a whole podcast episode on alignment as well, because it is so imperative in the manifestation process and this goal setting process that I'm sharing with you today. And please note, being in alignment for you may be way different than it is for me. So what it really comes down to is knowing yourself. And one of the best ways to do that is what I speak heavily on in this podcast, and the inspiration behind the name of this podcast: coming back to here, coming back to your breath, coming back to your body, coming back to your intuition, coming back to your higher self, coming back to your soul. The last and final step of the manifestation process is trusting. And for a majority of everyone that lives on this planet, it is probably the hardest thing to do, and it will stretch you to limits you never thought were possible. For me, it's been a journey of strengthening that trust muscle with a lot, and I mean a lot of trial and error, and being as grounded and as zen as I may seem, I still have the hardest time with trusting the process. So, trusting the process really is trusting that your desired goals in this process will come to fruition when you take aligned action, when you are following your intuition and your heart, and trusting that the goals that you wrote down for 2024 are from your heart desires and that you will be able to reach them with trusting the process, trusting the universe, and entrusting yourself. I'm honestly saying this to reconfirm this to myself as well, because I need to hear this also, because I have trust in the process issues. Okay, there you have it. Those are the exact 5 steps that I take every single year to get really clear on what I desire to create, attract, and manifest into my life. And like I've showed you, it's not a traditional goal setting actually, because there is so much more involved in this process than just setting goals. This process allows us to go a lot deeper than traditional goal setting, and in my personal experience has worked way better, so much better to help me align with myself and my desired achievements. Again, if you desire more in-depth assistance with this 5-step process, you can go to the link in the show notes and sign up for my 3-month one-on-one coaching program that will help you achieve levels that you never thought were possible. I hope this episode was helpful to you, especially since you can use this process at any time that you desire. It doesn't need to just be in January. In fact, that's the beauty of this process, is that you can go back to realign and reassess anything that you desire at any time. If you feel this episode was helpful for you, please feel free to tag me in your stories on social media at Sarita Wellness, or leave me a review on the platform that you're listening to this show on. Thanks again for being here today, and I cannot wait for you to be in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, keep being the amazing you that you are. See you next time. Hey love, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you adored what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review on the platform you are listening to this episode on. By doing this, you are helping my mission to impact other women with their healing journeys. If you aren't already following me on social media, make sure to connect with me at Sarita Wellness to get your weekly dose of inspiration. I can't wait to be with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, keep being the amazing you that you are.